everyone. I'm Sarah, and today I would like to talk about something. Well, who pays the price? How weak the DRAM shop laws leave victims without justice, and what the heck is a DRAM shop law? Now, first of all, I want to do a disclaimer. And I'm going to say I am not an attorney, that the information is based on personal research, talking to other people, and because laws and regulations are subject to change, it may differ. Well, they do differ in every location. It is essential to consult with a qualified attorney that you have the most current and accurate guidance in this situation. Now, I'm going to also preface this with the fact that you need to do this with everything. Do not rely on what Uncle Joe says. Attorney within a state that the incident did not occur, or what happened last week, whatever the case may be, always find yourself a really good attorney. Not one that calls you on the telephone or one on the TV, but do some research and find somebody who is a good attorney and legitimate. This is very important. This is the reason why I've done these lectures, is because there's a lot of myth out there, and then there's the realities. And they slap you in the face if you do not know what you are doing. And like I said over and over again, the criminal has all the rights, and they have the representation. You need to. Now, the impact of no DRAM shop laws on victims is a sobering reality when alcohol-related crashes occur, like what happened to me. Now, as you know, the consequences are always devastating, leaving us and our families grappling with physical injuries, emotional trauma, PTSD, shock, in a lot of cases, financial difficulties. Now, I was fortunate. I could bring my son home from Texas. I live in Nevada, and I could pay to fly down there. But there are many families that cannot, and they cannot even have the money to bury their loved one. So, I cannot tell you how many people that I know have told me that, and it hurts me to know that somebody cannot bury their child. However, the legal path to this is significantly more challenging for victims seeking compensation in states with no DRAM shop laws. These laws, which lack liability provisions, held establishments such as bars, taverns, restaurants from being held accountable for overseeing patrons who cause them harm. Now, I did not put in parties at private families or private events. I don't know exactly how they work because they're different in every state. But again, don't assume. Don't assume you know. Ask an attorney. Now, this article explores the implications. No DRAM shop laws and their profound impact on victims. Now, they do have a DRAM shop law in Texas, which I did have a civil attorney there. But unfortunately, in states, which I'll go over which states they are, like Nevada, we have no DRAM shop law. In fact, we have a law in the books that says that we cannot sue a hotel or one of the sports events. That's why I have seen a couple of, well, in this case, they were football players, get away with murder. And even a contract after they get out of jail. And I had heard that the one didn't even serve jail time or prison time. How true that is, I do not know. But I do know that in states such as mine, money can get you out of a lot of things. And with no DRAM shop laws, there's no recourse. Now, the rationale often cited for no DRAM shop laws. Now, this is a good one. You know, whatever rationality they have, I cannot well, anyway, you know what I mean. There is no rationality for somebody serving somebody too much alcohol and they're drunk and they know that they're getting in a car and driving. I'm sorry, there is no rationality, but this is what I come to find out that's written, okay? Individual responsibility. Advocates argue that the blame rests solely with the intoxicated individual, not the established. That is fine. If that individual family has money where you can bury your child and continue to live a halfway decent life. But most of them don't. Most of them don't even have insurance. I think Dennis had, $25,000 in Texas. That's the minimum car insurance. But in Nevada, I believe it's $10,000. What can you do with $10,000 nowadays? Nothing. Again, the criminal gets all the rights. Yes, it is his or her responsibility. It is. But it's also a responsibility if a bartender sees somebody's drinking too much to stop serving them. Economic concerns. Well, that's a good one. I live in Las Vegas. Yep. Alcohol is mainstreaming here. It's the business. You have alcohol in drugstores. I can never figure that one out, although they did take cigarettes out of most of them. Walgreens. But it's everywhere. Grocery stores, almost every restaurant. Now, the opponents of the DRAM shop liability suggest it could raise insurance premiums for businesses or discourage economic growth. Well, boo-hoo. The casinos here don't make as much money as they did before. The complexity of the enforcement. Skeptics highlight the difficulty of proving negligence in overseeing cases. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to me in just a minute. However, these defenses fail to address the harsh realities that we, the victims, face in the aftermath of losing our loved ones to a drunk. A drunk, to me, is a worthless person who gets in a car is absolutely a worthless person. Now, the human cost. Well, in my case, there was a DRAM shop law in Texas, but it took them 6 months before they investigated. Now, what happens with videos? What happens with receipts? Again, the criminal gets all the rights. But if you know there is a DRAM shop law and you have an attorney, then it just doesn't always totally disappear, because that attorney wants his pay, because usually he is on retainer. Not retainer, excuse me. Well, he gets his money. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it now. But he gets his money if he is able to sue and get you money. And believe me, he takes a sizable chunk. But if you don't know this, and you don't have a good civil attorney, well then you're going to lose out. Okay? You're going to lose out. Now, yes, there are ways of getting money for funeral services, like I explained in other videos, through the state, which is different than this. However, that's a lot of paperwork, and I still haven't figured that one out yet. As to what you would and would not get, I just couldn't do it. It was just, I had so much paperwork that I just couldn't do it. Now, there's another thing to this. However, the no DRAM shop law leaves these families with limited options, often preventing them, like I said, from recovering costs of medical bills, funeral expenses, or lost income. How about airline tickets? How about hotel rooms? How about food? Car rentals? For victims, this lack of recourse deepens their suffering. They must rely solely on the impaired individual. Well, how many drunks have money? And if they do have money, they can get off, for what I can see. The affluenza defense was one of them, where the guy that killed, 5 people and wounded 4 people, and I guess wounded about that many more. He got off. He was too rich to understand that you don't drink and drive. That's another video that I've done. And of course, they don't have decent insurance, like I said, or assets to cover any damages. Without the liability to hold establishments accountable, victims endure financial and emotional distress burdens for the rest of their lives. We get a life sentence. They get everything. The criminal always has a right, unless you stand up as a mother bear and you let them know that you know what's going on. Then at least you have a fair fight. Not to mention, you want to be safe because you want to know where that person is at, so you don't run into them either, which is Marcy's law. Now, there is some broader social impact. The absent DRAM shop laws affects not just the individual victims, like me, who lost my child, Kenley. It has broader implications for public safety and alcohol serving practices. Without the threat of liability, establishments have less incentive to train staff, monitor patrons' consumption, or intervene when necessary. I've seen them take and put them out in a car and send them down the road. This lack of oversight can contribute to higher rates of drunk driving and alcohol-related violence incidents, if we had them. Additionally, it sends a troubling message. Businesses profiting from alcohol sales are not responsible for foreseeable consequences of their actions. This lack of accountability undermines efforts to foster a culture of responsibility drinking. If you drink, don't drive. I don't care if you go out and get smashed. Just don't get behind a wheel and drive. The absence of DRAM shop liability in some states reflects a legal gap that leaves victims vulnerable and promotes a culture of minimal accountability among establishments that serve alcohol. While individuals must take personal responsibility for their actions, businesses that profit from alcohol sales also share the duty to prioritize public safety. They have to share the responsibility within reason. Reforming the no DRAM shop laws isn't just about legal. justice. It's about fostering safe communities and ensuring victims that are not left to shoulder the consequences of preventable tragedies. For the families who have lost loved ones like me, my baby's gone because Dennis Rodriguez Abeyta Jr. thought it was fun to go out and get drunk, and I can assure you that he had a member of his family that was drinking with him, because I have seen them post the picture on Facebook. It's time. It's time. It's time to do something. What? I don't know. DRAM shop laws hold alcohol service establishments liable for damage caused by serving alcohol to visibly intoxicated individuals who then cause harm. I said that in the beginning. That's if, well, again, the laws are enforced. However, as of 2023, 8 states do not have such laws. Delaware, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Nebraska, and Nevada, where I live, South Dakota, and Virginia. In these states, victims of alcohol-related incidents cannot pursue legal action against establishments serve the intoxicated individual are responsible for loved ones' injuries and deaths. Most of them don't have the good insurance, don't have the assets because they're drinking them away. And the other ones are so rich that they can get out of it. Look what's happening now with our court trials with those that have money. They have ways of dragging them on forever and getting people out. Now, this legal gap places a full burden of accountability on those who consume the alcohol, leaving victims with limited avenues for compensation. Now, there are a few things that I think, I know that I live in a senior community. We have our own restaurant and country club here. And I did speak to the manager, and there are classes that, even though we don't have a DRAM shop law, our manager here has taken the time to put his bartenders through these classes to at least try to train them to notice if somebody is drunk and not to serve them, and enforce cutoff policies for visibly intoxicated patrons. And of course, well, we have no minors up here, but I do understand that could be a problem too. But senior community, no minors. In conclusion, it's important to note that while these states lack comprehensive DRAM shop laws, they may still impose a liability in special situations. Again, such as serving alcohol to minors. Yes, they will close down a bar here if they are caught serving alcohol to minors. Thank God for that. For instance, in Nevada, although there are no general DRAM shop laws, like I said, because I live here, social hosts can be held liable if they knowingly provide alcohol to underage individuals who then cause harm. Now listen to that. Social hosts can be held liable. That means if you have a party at your house and there are kids there drinking underage, you can lose everything, and I hope you do. The absence of DRAM shop laws in these states emphasizes the importance of understanding local regulations wherever the incident took place and the potential challenges that victims may encounter, such as you and I, when seeking justice and compensation for injuries related to alcohol-related incidents. Now, please understand, you must get an attorney in the state it happened. Attorneys cannot usually cross over lines, and they don't usually normally know other states' laws. Okay? Now, the concept of DRAM shop laws, traditionally associated with alcohol, is increasingly discussed in context of cannabis, as is legal legalization expands across the United States. Oh yeah, we don't only have alcohol in some of our places, we have cannabis too. So they can smoke it and they can drink it and then get out on the road and drive. In fact, I had a Prime guy who came by to drop package. He smelled like cannabis. While the specifics of cannabis liability laws remain less developed compared to those of alcohol, some jurisdictions are beginning to explore whether dispensaries or social consumption lounges should bear responsibility for damages caused for overserving or impaired patrons. Unlike alcohol, cannabis consumption varies widely in effects and duration, making it more complex to regulate. I understand, although I've never taken it, that it takes about an hour for it to work. I don't know this, but this is what I've been told. And of course, there's always questions about what defines intoxication. I always get the question, well, some people, I can drink a lot because I'm bigger and I'm a man. No. That doesn't really make any difference. It depends on who you are. I guess your metabolism depends on you're taking any medicine, it depends on many things. It is very, very important to always find yourself a good attorney in the state. Do not go with what you see on TV. Do not go with what I say or what anybody says, because we're all getting it through Googling. We're all getting it through talking to people, talking to attorneys, talking to different states. Find yourself a good attorney and work with that attorney. Make sure it's in the state. And usually they will work on contingency basis. There's the word I forgot a while ago, contingency basis. I hope that giving you this information, it will help you. That is what all my intentions are in this, is to make sure that you're aware of what is out there, because you cannot rely on victims' rights advocates. You cannot rely on DAs to tell you. You certainly cannot rely on the defense to tell you. You have to be aware that there are victims' rights, that there's DRAM shop laws, and what a DA really does. And you have to understand that you are the only one that is working for your loved one. The DA works for the state. It's you. Again, thank you for joining me today. I know sometimes I get pretty passionate, but it's been a rough couple of years. And I'm only into a couple years of my life sentence. I am the proud mother of Dr. Kenley Jean Rainey, who lost his life in a crash on January 25th, 2019. Thank you.